Hello, good evening, welcome along. It's the Jackocar Cup Series. It is Thursday Night Thunder and we are back for week 6 already. Can you believe it? I'm going to come to the Umwa. With me is no one. Jacko's away this week, so for the second season in a row, you've got me on my own doing China. And obviously with all of Jacko's connections to America and its government, I don't know what that says about him, but he's missing again. I think it was in America land for the Daytona 500, so that's why he's not here. So we'll let Jacko enjoy his time away. I did try to convince him to park in a hotel room and just, join me remotely, but he couldn't be bothered trying to work out how to do that. So it's just me this evening. So after last week, we had Casper Klein, who winning the first back-to-back win since I think back on F1 2020, which sounds impressive, but then you remember that was only in season 11, so didn't happen at all last season. And Casper went from sideways in the wall, losing his front wing, all sorts of chaos and drama, to winning in the Circuit of the Americas last week, and it was the second win in a row. And that brings us here to China, where he's trying to do the three-peat on a track where in previous seasons he has managed to get things completely wrong and lose wins, be it through getting pistol strategy wrong or just breaking various rules, really. So it'll be interesting to see if that three-peat can happen. It happens very rarely. But we'll worry about him in a minute, because we, as you can see, have 20 drivers for the first time this season. So we lose a Jacko and we gain our 20 drivers, which means we're going to see the qualifying system at its absolute full potential. So, as always, we start with Group 5, and that includes 4 drivers. This week, those drivers are Corey Dalton, Jack Craig, Leroy Hasselager, and Jordan Lane. Leroy and Jordan are on track at the moment, and they are going to be against each other in the first of the 2 duels this evening. Then you will see Corey Dalton and Jack Craig. They've got about 4 minutes to be out of the garage. And it looks to me like it's raining, which means, first of all, let me just adjust my audio, because you don't want to be hearing driver, you want to be hearing broadcast. But this could be the pole position lap. I'm fascinated to see what's going to happen here. I don't remember the last time we had a qualifying session where it started to rain this early on. And it really begs the question, what on earth are Corey Dalton and Jack Craig doing sat in the pits? Because they could be missing out on the best conditions of the lot. So, Leroy Hasselager into turn 1. Very long turn 1, rolls into 2. Keeps it all online, but look for any struggles he'll have on the throttle. Even a little bit of rain will start to cause problems. And look at his tyre temps as well, they're not particularly high. His rear left looks like it's just hit 81 degrees, but the rest are still in the 70s. So, this is going to be a difficult lap, and you can see the struggles already into turn 6. And Leroy Hasselager, even though this doesn't look like the best lap in the world, this could be on pole position still. Oh, he nearly loses it. He hits the curb on the inside of, I think that's turn 7. Turn 8, he avoids that curb completely. 9 and 10. Hit that inside curb or avoid it. Some people will avoid it, swing wide and hit the second curb. Leroy decided to go for both. I don't think that's the fastest way of doing things. And then into the final sector, turn 12. And then turn 13, which is difficult enough to get on the throttle with in normal conditions, but in these rainy conditions, it's going to be really hard. He's over-revving the engine. That's to avoid dropping the rear end. That might have got him out of the corner better than he would have done before. We'll see if anyone else is going to copy that tactic. But down the back straight, he used a bit of overtake to get out of the corner as well, and he's broke very early for the hairpin, trying to hit the apex, and he has done so. But this track already looks ready for intermediates to me. So round the final corner, Leroy Hasselager, is this going to be pole position in Jackocar? Crossing the line, 1 minute 36.6. Let's see if Jordan can do anything about it as he comes down the back straight. Not only to go for pole position, but to go for the dual victory. He's gone a bit deep at the hairpin. That's why Leroy broke early, to avoid that happening. But has the rest of Jordan's lap been good enough to put him on pace? Through the final corner he comes. He's nowhere. Leroy Hasselager's on pole position as things stand. Unbelievable stuff. He wins his duel. Is he about to win pole position? This is fascinating stuff. So, first duel finish. Jack Craig is next out. He's on dry tyres still. Corey Dalton too, on the dry tyres, and he's just started his lap, running last week's throwback livery still by the looks of it, which was a 2019 Germany Mercedes, a race where we saw very similar conditions to this send Lewis Hamilton into the wall on the soft compound tyres while the rain was coming down. Is that a bad omen, I wonder, as Leroy comes to the hairpin? But this is looking impossible, and I'm gonna see if anyone has the stats for this. When was Leroy last on pole? So if anyone finds that stat for me, I'd be much appreciative. But I'll have to look at the YouTube chat as well, potentially, because it doesn't happen very often that we see a Hasselager on pole in the Cup Series. It's happened before, obviously, in the Kia Series, where the two brothers have been champions in the past, but and they are both Cup Series winners, but to get pole position is an entirely different achievement altogether. And this is also going to create a bit of a mixed up grid, because yes, it's raining now, but the track only gets worse and worse and worse as the rain comes down, especially on China. It's a horrible track when the rain starts coming down, so this is fascinating. This is going to become all about the duels now, because pole position, that's gone. You can see that. Corey Dalton, one of the fastest drivers in the league, and he's going to be about 5 seconds off pole position here. Absolutely extraordinary. He crosses the line and is at, yeah, just about the 5 seconds. It's unbelievable. Kaya, well, he's suggesting it might have never happened in the Cup Series. This is where Jacko normally is on it with stats. But he's not here, so it doesn't really help me. DRS has been disabled. That is going to hinder Jack Craig in this attempt to beat Corey Dalton. And Sully, Casper and Sully are suggesting as well, as Kaya has, that Leroy's never been on pole in the Cup Series itself. It very much looks like that is going to be changing here in race 206 of the Jackocar Cup Series. We're going to see a new pole sitter. And there you can see the DRS not opening for Jack. That is going to make an already slow lap even slower, as Michael Akeke and Jamie Griffiths and Baza all set lap times, and they're running pretty slow as well. Jack's barely able to get on the throttle as he comes through the final corner. The soft compound tyres are a liability at this point. This is going to be over 10 seconds off pole position as well. Corey wins his duel. The next set of duels are Rowan Border, Baza, Jimmy Griffiths and Michael Akeke. So Jimmy Griffiths has beaten Michael Akeke in his duel. Baza's gone 11.7 seconds off the pace. Where's Robin Border? Is Robin Border about? He's gone 5th. He's only gone 5th, which in fairness isn't too bad. He's a supercharged driver this evening. He's won his duel. He's a supercharged driver, the only one in the field this evening. And if he can start from P5 on the grid, that'll be a fantastic launch pad for what could be a crucial night in his season. A lot of drivers on the track at the moment, and they're all struggling. Anyone on soft compound tyres now, it's a liability, like I say. So that's the second group done as quickly as the first group got done. The next set of drivers out there are Mike Kelterborn. Gareth Hawley's not left his garage yet. He still has time. Pete Knighton. Where's Pete Knighton at? Where is Pete Knighton? Absolutely no idea where Pete Knighton is. And I've just realised I've been saying 206 Cup Series races. That's actually the amount of races it's been since Pete Knighton last won. So I actually wrong stats. I've no idea how many Cup Series races we've actually had. But Leroy's never been on pole for any of them. Yeah, Gareth's not out on track. But the other battle for this duel is going to be Chris Waits versus Pete Knighton. So yeah, Mike Kelterborn versus Gareth Hall. And Gareth, you need to come out of your pits at some point. Get a lap on the board. Here comes Mike. Round the final corner. So let's see how different this lap is now. On board on intermediate tyres. In theory, really, this should be a very good time, because setting a lap on these sorts of conditions on soft compound tyres is going to be awful, but looking at that through the first couple of quarters, that looks pretty suboptimal to me. So, interesting. Don't know what to make of this. This might not be that quick. Let's compare times, actually. Right, Mike's first sector, 27.8. Leroy's. Yeah, look how big the difference is. What about Corey Dalton's? 27.6. So this could be still a top 5 contender. It should be a top 3 possibly, but that's way wide and into the gravel trap, and Mike Kelterborn has blown his qualifying. Oh no. If he just gets it all on the islands, and he's now going to have another car coming through, that is of Pete Knighton, so we'll move to him now. There is Mike Kelterborn. He's possibly going to block Pete here on the track where he took his one and only Cup Series title all the way back in 2019. Very long time ago, or 2020 I should say, on the 2019 F1 game. He won it in 2020, 6 years ago, long time. But he can't get past Mike, who's still obviously on a qualifying lap. He's got no obligation to let Pete through. Even though he's been in the gravel, that will have invalidated him though. And at that point, Pete will come through. You nearly went to the back of him there, but you saw Mike going wide, and that very much did signal the end of his lap. Into the hairpin for Pete Knighton. This will be fascinating to see if this is anywhere near the pace. It's not at all, is it? This is nowhere. These times are so slow. Round the final corner, Pete Knighton's going to be upwards of 12 seconds, maybe 13 off pole position. Yeah, look at that, 12 seconds off pole position. This is getting heavier still. Could we be on the full wets by the end of this? And there's rain scheduled for the race as well, I should point out. So this could get more difficult as Chris Waits wins his duel. And Gareth Hall is out on the track, only on an out lap. He's come out so late that the other group have already started. So Sullivan Lewis and Tony Kirkpatrick are a duel. Sullivan Lewis is out on track. Johannes and Ben Harrett are another duel, and Johannes is out on track as well. So we'll follow Gareth around, because he should... Well, he's behind Johannes on the track, but I mean, his duel is currently on good. We'll keep an eye on the pair of them, but you know, always good to give the league owner a little bit of airtime. We always gave Jacko his fair chunk when he was running the show, even though he never really got any good results. But yeah, this is impressive. Just how lucky we've been with this weather to give us a really crazy looking grid. Leroy and Jordan on the front row, Corey and Jamie Griffiths on the second row, and DRS has been disabled again. Don't know why they've had to put it up again. Is that just to signal that we're moving towards full wet conditions, perhaps? But yeah, that top 4. I mean, Corey Dalton right now must be feeling pretty confident with his chances of pole position at the moment. And this is Leroy Hasselager. This will be a first, of course, for the for this new league. We've got Leroy Hasselager, who is part of Group 5 of qualifying, second bottom of the championship, on 17 points, set to go on pole position. That's about as Formula E as it gets, really, isn't it? But that's what we've got, is what happens when you get the rain like this. But yeah, all the way down in P19 in the championship, first group of qualifying. If only Corey Dalton had picked up some points on the supercharger, he could have been last in the championship and going for pole position. This is sort of the realms of where Tez was when he won his race in Austria all those seasons ago. As we watch Gareth Hall through the first sector, he's got no pace. It's just the conditions. It's where we're at the moment. It is genuinely, it's all about the duels, and can you sneak a decent sort of top 10 placing? Riding on board, I mean, it just looks horrible, doesn't it? I mean, this looks like a car that's got no grip, no turning, nothing. This is going to be so far off the pace. Let's see how Johannes is getting on as he heads to the middle sector. 1 minute 0.7, and Gareth, well, 2.2 seconds off where Johannes is, so that tells you how difficult these conditions are. Some people are picking it up better than others. As Johannes comes onto the back straight, he saved all of his ERS for this run down the back straight. Smart call. It should gain him a few tenths of a second. He's got plenty of deployment as well. He's got that reduced harvesting, but that's fine. He's saved up so much because of the way these conditions are. He saved so much of that back straight. He'll be able to go straight back on it as he comes towards the final quarter. Pole position's gone. He's looking to try and get into the top 5. He's in and around the pole park, but I think he's going to be just back. Yes, he is. He's P6. Gareth Hall's going to be further back. He's obviously looking at his duel as well. Who's he up against as he goes P12? Well, he's lowest. It doesn't really matter. He's against Mike Kelterborn, who invalidated his time anyway. So as long as he just set a time, he was all good. So, Group 2, Johannes. He's put his time on the board. Here comes Sully. He's gone P10. So he's against Tony. So we're waiting for Ben Harrett and for Tony Kirkpatrick to finish laps. Tony's up first. He's against Sullivan Lewis. Massive front left lockup into the hairpin, but he still hit the apex. Shouldn't be too much of a problem as he comes towards the final corner. I mean, it looks competitive considering the conditions. This should be a top 5 time. He goes P4. He's won his duel against Sullivan Lewis comfortably, and a P4 position, very good for him. That's Corey and Tony sharing a row as things stand. Should be very exciting indeed to see how that one pans out. But we're waiting on Ben Harrett. He's on an out lap at the moment. You can see though all the big guns coming out. We've got Group 1, no duel here. The top 4, Ben Shaw, Casper, Jake and Arnaud, are all against each other in this duel. It's not for pole position, but it's absolutely a quadruple threat, or a fast 4-way is what is actually being called. Interesting naming scheme. Not me that came up with it, but yeah, a lot of drivers on the road at the moment. Ben Harrett will be the first to complete a lap, though. Of course, he was from the last group, so we'll be looking at his time compared to Johannes to see how he gets on, and then it'll be all about these big 4 to see if they can get themselves into P4. That's the height of where they're going to achieve here tonight. As Leroy Hasselager, I mean, he knows it already. He knew it the second that time went on the board. We knew it the second that time got on the board. Pole position. The inquest here will be with Corey Dalton, I think. Why on earth did he not leave the pits as soon as humanly possible? Same for Jack Craig. They were in that first qualifying group, but they were just the first cars to get out of the pits. They'd be sat on pole position right now. That's what Leroy Hasselager did, and he finds himself on pole position. There's 45 seconds to go in qualifying. Keeping an eye on this, just in case Arnaud, Ben, Jake and Casper don't all make it to the line. It looks a little bit marginal at the moment. They're all on the back straight at the minute, apart from Arnaud. I think he's heading through the final corner as we speak, so he'll get to the line. Jake will follow him. Then it'll be Casper, then Ben Shaw. I think they've all got there in good time. So we'll see if any checkered flag pops up next to their names. But Arnaud's on his lap. Jake is on his lap. Casper on his lap. And Ben Shaw on his lap. They've all made it just in time. Here comes Ben Harrett, looking to be P7 or better to win his duel. The checkered flag is out. The session is over. Through the final corner, here comes Ben Harrett. He's going to be behind Johannes. He goes 11th place. Johannes wins his duel. Right. Here's Arnaud de Grief. The game says he's gone purple in the first sector. He certainly hasn't. And he was telling me before, during One Hub, we're teammates at the minute in One Hub, he was telling me he wanted to try something a little bit different with his livery. This is something a little bit different with his livery. Blue, deep red, and yellow. Certainly stands out. Still very much looks like an Arnaud car, has to be said. Not the sort of refined gold and black that we're used to seeing from him, obviously with the touches of the deep red as well, but I'm liking the fade to the back of the car. Very, very NASCAR-ish, very Jackocar-ish. So, and he's gone mad with the sponsors as well, which is always nice to see. Has the rain stopped? The rain stopped? Hello? The rain has stopped! I didn't even notice that. The rain has stopped. And these guys are all on intermediate tyres. Oh, if you're locked in, you're locked in if your name's Leroy Hasselager. Mind you, the track's still in pretty horrendous conditions, but... well, let's see what this will be like then. He might, Arnaud, be able to go P4. Yeah, look at that. A little bit of track improvement then. P4 for Arnaud. They still need to find 7 seconds, these guys. They don't want to be anywhere near pole position. That's not going to happen. And Jake O'Sullivan, he goes P5 across the line. Next up is Casper. He goes 5th. And Ben Shaw, he goes 7th. So, who won that then? I've no idea. I think it was Arnaud. I just watched it, like, I should know. But, well, we'll confirm that in a minute. Yeah, Arnold. But what about that for a result? Leroy Hasselager is on pole, we believe, for the very first time in the Jackocar Cup Series with a 136.6, 2 seconds clear of Jordan Lane, who picks up a front row in Jackocar as well. Very impressive. I think he has been at the front before, but yeah, these two, what a front row that is. 2 seconds separating pole and second place. That mustn't happen very often either. Then we've got Corey, Arnold, Casper, Jake, Ben, Tony, Jamie, Chris. Oh, I can't be bothered. Johannes. The rest of them. Just the rest of them. I can't name them all that quickly. You don't care about the rest anyway. Now, we're expecting difficult conditions for the race as well, which should be fascinating. And we've got Yori as well, just mentioning that he never has had a pole position in the Cup Series. He managed to get P2 by 0.006 behind Matt. Now that could be Red Matt, that could be Red Matt. He might be talking about. He has been here for a while as Yuri, so yeah, massive result regardless. I mean, what chaos this is going to cause for the start of this race. And yeah, we've been told we're expecting difficult conditions for qualifying and for the race. It obviously looks very dry at the moment. And yeah, Yuri confirming it was Red Matt. Who's new? We haven't seen Red Matt for a long time. Matthew Redmore, that is. Back in the day, he used to be a massive competitor in the Cup Series. Nearly won the Season 4 championship. He didn't lose it by much. He was the favourite to win it that day in the Circuit of the Americas until Kieran Spears put it in the wall on purpose as a Hail Mary attempt to get himself back in contention. Instead, it let Jamie Wright take his second and most recent Cup Series crown. Now, if we are expecting rain in this, and Baza says we are, this will create, well, massive intrigue in the strategy. Will we see anyone on the soft, for instance? This track eats up tyres. I can already see Jordan Lane on the front row. He's put the soft compound tyres on. Our pole sitter looks like he's put the soft compound tyres on. And are we going to see... The reason I'm asking this... No, he's put the hards on. See, that's what I was thinking people might do. Put the hard compound tyres on. Bit of hards, bit of mediums. Maybe 2 mediums or a hard and a medium. Try to go as on as possible. Because it feels like it's a very sunny day at the minute and this rain's going to come late. So, let's see the tyres that everyone's going for. Look at this. We've got an absolute mix. So, hard compound tyres for Leroy on pole. For Arnold in 4th. Now, Arnold always likes to go for the harder compounds of tyres. That's not at all surprising to see from him. And Baza in 17th. Then we've got soft compound tyres for Jordan, for Casper, for Ben Shaw, Chris Waits, Johannes, Pete and Gareth. The rest of them are on the mediums. And that is, well, that's half the field. That's Corey, that's Jake, Tony, Jamie, Robin, Michael, Jack, Ben, Harrod, Sully and Mike Kelterborn. And reminder that Robin is a supercharged driver, which means if he can win this race, 70 points are up for grabs rather than the usual 35. But even if he gets a decent sort of result in the top 10 or whatever, he'll be on for some big points, and he needs them because he currently our near chase winner from last season. He missed out by not very much. Sorry, our chase winner. He did win it. He did win the chase last season. Yeah, he's only on 29 points at the minute. 21 points away from being in the top 10, which is Gareth Hall on 50 points. He's in 10th at the moment. Got to be in the top 10 in the Cup Series standings after 10 races to make it into the playoffs. If you're in the bottom 10, you're into the chase. So that's what's up for grabs. That's why these points are so important. The only 3 drivers here are currently advanced are Jake O'Sullivan, Arnold DeGreve and Casper Klein, the 3 full-time drivers who have won a race this season. The other driver to win a race is Logan Aron, but he's only a reserve, and he won on debut as well, which is a rarity. So, where's Casper? P5 on the grid, looking to win for the 2nd season in a row here in China. He nearly got taken. Well, he did get taken out by Arnold with about 2 laps to go last season, and Tony nearly took the win off him, I believe. But he just held on. If he can do that again, hopefully for his sake, with less drama, he could win a 3rd race in a row in Jackocar, which does not happen very often. so we will keep an eye on him. But this front row is where it's at. We've got Leroy Hasselhager against Jordan Lane on hards and softs. Corey Dalton on mediums in third place. Arnold on the hards in fourth, for Casper in fifth on the softs. It's all over the place. It's been laid out perfectly. And as Mike Kelterborn parks up onto the grid, we could be in for an absolute classic here in Shanghai. The lights are on. The drivers are looking towards a very windy turn one. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing. And look at the start from Casper on those softs. He's done the same as he did last week in the Circuit of the Americas. He's up to third place already. Into second place as well. All the way into the lead. What a start. That is incredible. We said last week's was good. That was outstanding. And Arnold up into second place as well, ahead of Leroy Hasselhager. Jordan down to fifth on those soft compound tyres. And you've got Leroy holding on ahead of Jake O'Sullivan. But that is a dream start in every sense of the word. And look at that down the inside. Jake O'Sullivan up into third place. And we've got three wide in the background as well, as the cars at the back shuffle around for positions. I mean, wow. I mean, Corey Dalton fell down to fifth place there. Leroy into fourth. Jordan into sixth. They can't believe what's happened to them. And Casper, on those soft compound tyres, he should be able to just sprint away now, ahead of a guy on hard compound tyres. Dream start. Like I say, in every sense of the word, for Casper. Unbelievable. I can't believe what I've just seen. And sadly, I haven't got a Jacko to tell me stuff, so I'm gonna have to find out myself. Let's ride on board, shall we, with Corey Dalton then. Like I say, he must have been thinking, having seen how that qualifying panned out, he must have been thinking, I'm the main man here, I'm the guy who can make this race interesting. And instead, he's fallen down to fifth. He is ahead of Jordan. So, I mean, as far as he's concerned, it was an okay start because he got ahead of one of the guys in the front row. It's just that the three guys behind him just had an extraordinary set of starts. As wide out the final corner went one of them. It might have been Jordan. Here comes Tony down the inside of Jordan, and he's up into the top six. Here comes Corey as well, and just having a little slide in the middle of turn two as he thought about making the move on Leroy Hasselhager. He's got to get this done quickly because, all respect to Leroy, but it is pretty clear that Corey's faster and he'll want to be getting after these guys ahead of him. So down the inside into turn six, Leroy's left the space. Fair racing. Up into fourth place goes Corey Dalton. Meanwhile, we've got what appears to be a pretty decent battle between Ben Harrett and Johannes. They've been swapping places, I think, a little bit on the last few corners, and it's Johannes in 11th place behind Chris Waits. Ben Shaw and Jimmy Griffiths ahead of those two. Trying to keep an eye out for any cars that have damage. Ben Shaw does, and he's had a massive slide as he comes through 10, and a few drivers are struggling out there actually. Not the easiest conditions out there, and especially for Ben Shaw when you're running around with damage on your car. I wonder, as side by side now goes Johannes with Chris Waits. I wonder if Ben Shaw will be looking to get rid of these soft compound tyres sooner rather than later. Tony up into the top 5 now. Is Jake O'Sullivan thinking about a move on Arnold? Again, he's got the better tyres, so you'd expect he'd be able to do something with them. Goes through the final corner. The pair go. I don't think they're going to get anywhere near Casper at the moment. It's all about when he pits and what that does to your strategy. Remember, we are expecting rain at some point during this race, and that will spice things up. And there's always the potential for safety cars and for virtual safety cars, all sorts of drama. Sadly, red flags don't work on this game because that would be a fantastic variable to have as well. But I think the Jackocar Cup Series, it has plenty enough as it is, as we have a yellow flag for Pete Knighton through turn 1. He recovers. He must have just gone a little bit wide rather than having an actual incident, but he's in 19th at the moment, not having the easiest of starts. Top 6 in the first 2 races of the season, and ever since then it's all sort of fallen away for him because he's missed races, lost his chance to go for a supercharger. Things not really going his way, and now sits in 19th place here in China, where he won that one and only title. Like we say, 6 years ago nearly. It's incredible how quickly it all goes by. On the week that Jackocar does turn 6 years old, of course. It happens tomorrow, I believe. I don't think anyone cares, but I mean, I think it's quite a cool thing. We've made it to 6 years, as long as the league doesn't get deleted and erased from history tomorrow. It'll be 6 years tomorrow since that first race in Australia. So, oh my, look at that. Massive moment for Chris Waite. He'll recover, but that could have been awful. And Arnold's all over the back of Casper. Tony is coming past Corey Dalton as well. But how on earth has Arnold caught a second up to Casper on this lap? Have Casper's tyres given up already? They have. He's into the pit lane. Wow. 3 laps. That's all he could do. And Corey already picking up a warning there. Another car going wide. That's Jimmy Griffiths. And another car into the pits. That's Chris Waite, presumably. Jordan and Ben Shaw are in 2, along with Pete Knighton. But this leaves us then. The top 2 in this race, Arnold and Jake O'Sullivan, racing each other without any distractions. They've got 3.3 seconds behind, and then they've got clean air in front. And again, like I say, they are 2 of the 3 drivers who have won a race this season already, and they're battling with Casper Klein. I mean, they're certainly making a good case for being the 3 best drivers in the league at the moment, aren't they? And they're showing once again how good they are. Of course, Jake, some will say his win in Vegas was incredibly lucky, but I mean, he pitted at the right time. Everyone else got done in by the safety car. He was able to take advantage and win the race. Same thing happened last time out, where Casper won his 2nd race in a row because Arnold just didn't want to pit, and he got caught out by a safety car. Of course, you cannot pit under safety car, which I thought we might get one then, as Jordan, or as Casper, just about doesn't hit Jack Craig. He was spinning out of the exit of turn 10. But yeah, if anyone pits under safety car, it's not mandatory. That's why these green flag pit stops are so much more vital this season. As we see Leroy getting overtaken by Sullivan Lewis, who I think started 16th on the grid. So that tells you how the qualifying order has been undone so quickly. And look at that, Jake O'Sullivan into the pits already on 4 laps. That's it, 4 laps, all you can do on a set of mediums. I'm not sure about that. What's he going to put on? Surely the hard compound tyres, right? Indeed, hard compound tyres. Johannes into the pits. Michael Akega into the pits. Gareth Hall into the pits. Down towards turn 1. Where's Casper? We're watching him. And you'll see behind him is Jake O'Sullivan. So, still a tyre advantage for Casper. He's, 1 step softer than Jake O'Sullivan, as it was at the start. But can Jake close the 2-second gap? Be fascinating to see how this one goes. Will they catch any traffic as well? 2.5 seconds to the back of Baza, and you've got Robin, Mike Kelterborn, you've got Ben Harrett, you've got Leroy, you've got Sully all in a gaggle, and they may be staying out for a few laps more. Actually, let's have a watch at that battle, because Jimmy Griffiths is at the head of that. And yeah, pretty massive train. So if these guys all stay out for a little while, they'll be caught by the net race leaders, and that'll certainly cause a little bit of drama there. We saw it in Monza, how easily it can turn into an airplane crash when fast cars catch slow cars. I do apologise if you hear me hiccuping. I have hiccups. But I do have a trusty Coca-Cola, which I've nearly run out of actually, so that should be keeping me alive really, but we'll see. Again, I've got no dead air to drink with, so I do apologise. As Tony also comes into the pits. This is to cover the top 2 guys, really, although he was a little bit behind anyway. But I mean, get the piss out of the way. Not a bad idea. That's a car on the wall, is it? Leroy certainly spun to the inside of the track on the exit of the final corner, but he hasn't lost any of his car. I tell you what, we've had a few near misses today, but for our pole sitter, a big moment coming out of the final corner. And Casper looks like he's ahead of Baza, and got about 2.5 seconds over Jake O'Sullivan. Things are going well for the man who's won the last 2 races, for the man who had just that most incredible start from pole. Well, he beat the pole sitter off the line, he beat everyone off the line to turn 1 from 5th place, and he's just re-overtaken Leroy there now. And Casper looking very good, but Arnold, he's got no choice on these hard compound tyres. He has to stay out, otherwise his race strategy won't work. But that race strategy can get undone in an instant if the safety car were to come out. Obviously there'll be the rain later on, which will give that chance for the second pit stop, but I'll tell you what, if that happens during the rain, during that rain crossover, we're in for some serious drama. But down that back straight, I mean, it all looks pretty under control. He's got 5.2 seconds to Corey, who has that penalty. But surely he's being massively undercut at the moment, as Jacko Sullivan down the back straight. DRS on Bazza. Bazza moves inside. Jake stays on the racing line. Takes that position. Brakes a little bit late, but he gets the car slowed down. I thought that might have been going sideways for a moment. But he's kept it all in the right direction. You can clearly see he's pushing. But it looks to me like Casper just has the raw pace advantage because of these softer tyres. Obviously, he's naturally fast himself. But, yeah, he's really looking good at the moment as Leroy was very close to the back of Casper towards turn 1. He wisely didn't decide to attack, as Gareth at the back is having a wee ding-dong, is he, with Michael Okeke? And they are sort of on their own. Jack Craig is absolutely last, 17 seconds back. He's just made his pit stop with these two. They're having a race of their own for what would be 19th place. Michael currently winning that battle, but Gareth coming up his inside. Looks like he'll win that place back. Clean racing between the pair. They'd hope it'd be for better positions, but again, when the rain comes, if they're still in play, anything can happen. But they're certainly having a good wee scrap. Let's go back up to Casper because he's caught some of this traffic now. Will they play ball? It's got past Robin. That was very easy indeed. So that's first one done. Next one up will be Mike Kelterborn. Will he try and get him on this back straight? He's got the ERS. He's using it. Might struggle to get up to the back, but he gets through down the inside and up into 4th place. Nicely done. Now, what's worth pointing out is his fuel level, 0.74. He's underfueled it. Jake O'Sullivan, I believe, has done the same thing. He's got a lap less even, minus 1.75. That's because they'll use less fuel, in the rain conditions. But I mean, if they don't get a safety car, that could put them a little bit at risk. Obviously, Jake ran out of fuel on the final lap in Mexico, and that was a race that there was no safety car in. So we've seen it go wrong before, and that looks to me like we've had a bit of drama here. So Corey's on the back here of Johannes, but where is the retired car? We know we've lost Sullivan Lewis, but I just don't know where he is. He's on the outside of turn 1. So as he come together with Johannes here and brought out the first safety car of the evening, it certainly looks that way. And Jordan, who was on the front row, is sped under the safety car, which is cardinal sin. You can never do that. Don't ever do that. No need. But yeah, safety car out. First car out of it. Sullivan Lewis. I've never seen a car parked in that outside barrier into turn 1. So that must have been contact into turn 1. Probably via Johannes, although he ended up spinning on the exit of, on the entry to 2. That's a little bit after where the accident is. So they could be two unrelated things. But either way, we've lost Sully from this race. And Arnaud de Grief, he will pit. Not mandatory. He's going to stop as well. Is that for Delta reasons? I wonder what that's all about. But obviously your Delta disappears as soon as you come to the pit lane anyway. I think he'll probably still come out in the lead, which probably actually suits him just... Well, it doesn't really suit him at all, does it? Because he's still a pit stop behind. That's the problem. He'll be on soft compound tyres, so he'll be able to pull away, but this was the risk. This was the risk. Anyone pitting now will be non-mandatories, but they'll be for softs. Will he be in the lead? I tell you what, not by much. All that slowing down on the pit lane entry, that nearly cost Arnaud de Grief, who does come back out in the race lead here in China. And I'll say it again, these two do have history here. It was completely accidental when Arnaud pulled out to make the move on Casper last season, lost the rear end and smashed into him. But that'll surely be playing on both drivers' minds as they look towards this restart here. couple of laps away yet, but I imagine we'll probably get underway at the end of lap 10, I'd say. I mean, the safety car came out in lap 8, so maybe it could even go to lap 11. We'll see what happens. But all of this will allow some fuel saving to go on, so let's actually see. So Arnoud's already good, he didn't want to risk it. Casper is saving the fuel as we speak, as is Jake O'Sullivan. And the reason this is going on, let's say, is just because of the rain. The rain is causing people to take a risk on fuel, because you could run less fuel because you'll not be on the throttle as often in the rain. It's pretty simple. And in safety car conditions, you use less fuel anyway. So what this does is it makes the car lighter and faster in a straight line and better through the corners. That's why they do it. You see it in real life F1 as well all the time. It's a pretty obvious thing to do, I suppose, if you know what you're doing. And it certainly looks to me like these guys know what they're doing. Now I'm going to have a drink, so I shall mute myself for a minute. I also have a reserve bottle of water, just in case I run out of Coke, and I have run out of Coke, so it's a bit like Asmongold really. Drink a bit of fizzy drink and drink a bit of water to cleanse it, except he does it in reverse. Right then, lap 10 here in Shanghai. Another pitter in Michael Akeke. This could hold back the restart another lap, just because the game does tend to wait for all the cars to be in the train, which is the correct thing to do. No lapped cars, not that the game would ever let lap cars go, it would take too long, I guess. But, yeah, Michael along my back. Yeah, look at that. So Arnoud's what? 1 minute into his lap. I wish, right, 1 minute 7 into his lap. So I'd say Michael's about 30 seconds back. I mean, he might be able to catch, because he's going at full racing speed while the rest are under safety car speed. Let's hope the safety car comes in this lap, because we obviously... Oh, hello. That's out of the race for Jimmy Griffiths, and he's binned it under safety car. Who did he hit? Because whoever he's hit hard enough to absolutely destroy his car. If I'm honest with you, I didn't see exactly who he hit. I'm looking to see if anyone got a penalty. No one got any penalty for collisions. I wonder, let me just check if there's been a warning for a collision there. Terminal damage. No, it doesn't say who he hit. That's a bit unfortunate, but Jimmy Griffiths hit someone. Let me go to Jackocar. This is where Valtteri Bottas binned it. Well, he spun off on the safety car nearly 10 years ago, actually. It's been a long time, if anyone remembers that. I think he's hit Ben Harrett. That's the guy he was behind when the incident took place, and that safety car is staying out another lap. So, the big question here, has Ben Harrett received serious damage? I would be amazed if the answer to that isn't yes. If you've been hit hard enough... What's gone on there? Hold on, Jack Craig's gone missing. Jack Craig's got a front right puncture. Oh no, he's run over the debris. Now, will the safety car start yet another lap to let him catch up? Because it's not his fault he's run over the debris caused by the accident. But yeah, let's say, Jimmy Griffiths is going so fast that he destroyed his whole front end of his car when he hit Ben Harrett. So that must have done more than likely rear wing damage, possibly diffuser and floor for Ben Harrett. So that is an absolute disaster for him. It's a massive disaster for Jack Craig, because I'd be really surprised if the game lets him catch up. And he's looks like his teammates with Arnoud in the garage. That's very much Arnoud's pit crew there. But right, we should probably watch the train then, just in case this happens again on the safety car. Let's say Valtteri Bottas, he spun off in damp-ish conditions about here in 2017 under the safety car. Guess it's an easy place to lose your concentration. Safety car is in this lap, so Jack Craig, who was 20 seconds behind the pack when the safety car came out, he's probably going to be that same 20 seconds behind the safety car, behind the pack when the safety car comes in. The poor bloke, and it's not his fault at all. But there it goes, the AMG Mercedes, which will be the safety car for the whole season, probably, for real F1. The Aston Martin have ended their deal. So, get used to seeing Mercedes cars. I hope they're not red, though. I like that they were red for Tuscany back in 2020 and was yellow, but I'd rather they just go back to being a nice silver, don't you think? Don't really like seeing a red Mercedes out there. It's a Ferrari colour. So, yeah. Wonder for the F1 26 update whether they'll just run with the Mercedes safety car. I bet Codemasters won't go to that much effort, will they? And you'll be able to see in the background there, Jack Craig. He might get within touching distance of this field if Arnaud just keeps this slow around the final couple of corners. I hope Jack can catch up, but here comes Arnaud around the final corner. And this race in Shanghai is going to restart. And lap 12 will be underway. Jackocar in China, and oh, look at that, all sorts going on in the background. We've got 3 or 4 wide already, and the cars moving all over the place. There's Tony ahead of, well, Corey Dalton now. He's going all the way around the outside of Johannes, who spun off, of course, here when that safety car was deployed. But what a nice move that was from Corey Dalton to move himself up into the top 5. And here comes Mike Kelterborn now. He pitted under that safety car. He's on some nice, fresh, soft compound tyres. He wants to make some moves, but he has to make a mandatory pit stop yet. Looking down the inside, doesn't decide to go for it. Looks like Ben Howard has now broken his front wing as well as having rear damage, so tough evening for him by the looks of it. But here is Mike Kelterborn. He looks good, doesn't he? You can really tell the difference a new set of tyres makes, can't you? And Corey Dalton, he's sort of enjoying this as well, only on 1 lap old tyres here. Reminded of Arnaud in the lead of this race. Mike Kelterborn, Leroy Hassager and Baza all made non-mandatory stops here, and I just want to check where they're at. Yeah, they're all needing to make 2 more stops. Ben Harrett around outside of Ben Shaw. That'll be a good move. He makes it stick. Maybe he hasn't got damage on the rear of his car. Hope for his sake he doesn't. And he's now going to weave across the track. But here comes Tony on Jake O'Sullivan. He was a bit detached earlier on in the race, but this safety car's brought him right back into play. Down the inside, locking up. Jake leaves the space, and as they come out of the hairpin, it looks like Jake's probably going to have the high ground here, and he will hold on to position. Arnaud has come into the pits, and so Casper is back into the lead of this race. And we've got some side-by-side action as the 2 Bens continue to go for it down the main straight. Now that looks like Leroy Hasselberg are getting back involved. It's now going to be 3 wide down towards turn 1, and it's going to be Ben Shaw ahead of Leroy, ahead of Ben. But here comes Corey Dalton, and he's got himself ahead of Jake O'Sullivan as well. He's had a horrendous restart to this race, and he starts tumbling down the order. And I'm afraid to say that it appears to be happening again for Jake, where he starts slipping down the order a little bit. He just doesn't appear to have the absolute raw pace that he once had in the Cup Series. And Jamie, I don't need any help on the car. I appreciate the offer, but I think I'll be okay. I've got my bottle of water. We shall survive. But I appreciate the offer. But yeah, it looks like Jake O'Sullivan, he just doesn't seem to have that raw, natural speed anymore. I'm sure he'd probably agree with me when I say it, but I mean, we were just so used to, for so long, seeing him be the inevitable, always on pole, always won the race, always won the title. But it doesn't feel that way with him anymore. And as Corey gets ahead of him, sort of backs it up a little bit. Let's see if he can fight back. Down the back straight. It doesn't look close enough, does it? It looks more like Corey's going to be doing some attacking on Tony. Oh, I tell you what. I'm glad that was a lag spike, because if that wasn't a lag spike, that was going to be an airplane crash, as it looked like Corey had broke 50 metres too late there. And that would have been, yeah, a nasty accident indeed. Arnaud currently sits in P16. It's happened again, people. He's done it again. After we saw it happen in Kota, he's had the safety car luck go against him here in China, but you can see the dark clouds starting to surround us here on board with Ben Shaw, and the chrome on that car is very much just reflecting clouds as he slides around the exit of turn 4 and comes through the kink of 5 before hitting the brakes behind Leroy Hasselagger in turn 6. Pete Knighton, haven't heard much from him in this race, but he's now up into P9, and he's got Leroy ahead of him still, who's yet to make a mandatory stop, so that's really a net P8, which from the back of the grid, yeah, a good race so far for him. But up at the front, Casper, what's he up to here? Is he saving a little bit of energy? It's allowing Tony to catch up and is creating a decent little train here with a top 5. I wonder why he's so slow. This happened before. We know that he tends to have a lot of straight line speed, but is it enough to keep Tony behind? Let's find out. Riding on board with the reigning Jackocar Cup Series champion, he's going to breeze by, and Tony takes the lead here in China. Now that is a surprise. A lot of these laps for Casper have been under safety car, but I guess maybe those medium tyres don't have much life in them. Luckily for him, the rain is coming soon, but he's on a level playing field with these guys if the rain comes down. So if his tyres are struggling, are we going to see him drop through the pack a little bit? Corey should have much better tyres than him as Bazza comes into the pits to make his first mandatory stop. Try and get that in before the rain comes, because when they pit for enters, that should be their last mandatory stop, really. So if anyone who hasn't made a mandatory stop, do it now, and that's what Leroy's also doing as well. So Leroy and Bazza in the pits, that's everyone having done their mandatory stop. The next one should be for intermediates. Unless the safety car comes on, that could spoil everything. That'd be really interesting to see what the strategy will be then, but we'll worry about that eventuality if it happens. As Robin, who sits P10 at the moment on his supercharger, picks up a 3-second time penalty. Not ideal, especially after a safety car where the pack's all sort of bunched together. But it looks to me like Casper's held on relatively well to that. Like I say, he's becoming known here for having setups with extreme straight line speed. So will we see that in action here down the back straight? Out of turn 13, let's ride on board. We're using old money here, we're using miles per hour, so let's see how high the number goes as that DRS opens up. We're going to hit 210 easily. 212 I think was the highest we got to there, but not enough for Casper to get past Tony Kirkpatrick. And with every lap he sits behind now, that puts the risk of rain, you know, yeah, well, the risk of rain grows with every lap, so he's got to get this redone soon, because we saw in qualifying it took about 3 or 4 minutes of rain for the DRS to get disabled, and when that happens, that makes overtaking all that more difficult. Lap 16 already as well, so they won't be on these tyres for too long, I don't think. I wonder if Casper's tyres are just approaching the cliff as well. I mean, again, I know he had laps on the safety car, but the rain, it's arrived now. The question becomes, when do you pit? It's nice water, this. Harrogate water. Get it for free at work. It's nice. Right. Chris Waits battling away with Michael Okeke. All these battles are going to become a little bit sort of dogfight-ish, aren't they? Because they're all going to be racing for the pit lane before long. It's not like normal strategies where you can pit whenever you want. When the track gets too wet, the track gets too wet. And, yeah, who's going to stack, who's going to lose out? Fascinating stuff here. And again, for Arnaud de Grief, I mean, he must be sat there in 13th, delighted that at the very least he's qualified for the playoffs, so he doesn't have to worry about winning any more races. But if this sort of thing happens to him during the playoff campaign itself, we could easily see a repeat of Japan from last season, where he goes and gets himself knocked out early on. In that case, it was the very first attempt he got knocked out on. So yeah, you gotta be careful with the race strategy. Maybe go for those harder compound tyres at the end of the race. Looking back through the field, we've got Robin sideways there, but ahead of Ben Harr. But behind that, Arnaud is up into P11. He's behind Michael Okeke. That won't last very long. Looks like he's a lot quicker at the minute. And he'll be up into 10th place. So he is making the ground back up. As Gareth as well thinks about it. Jinx out on Chris Waits. So that's Jack Craig, actually, isn't it? I thought Jack was going to pull out as well. That could have been contact, but they organised themselves well. Now there's a little bit of contact, but that's not too bad. It's just a little love tap. They'll move on. Oh, a bit of a slide. I tell you what, these are tricky conditions. And with Chris Waits, new front wing, new intermediate tyres. He's the first one to switch. You might as well. Oh, that's in the wall for Jordan Lane. We caught that just about as he entered the pit lane. That's another thing to think about. If he comes out of pit lane on cold tyres on a wet track, you could hit that pit wall. It's happened before many times. Interesting. Right. This could be the last time you see DRS in this race. Here comes Casper. Not having the best exit in the world. 6/10 is the gap to Tony Kirkpatrick. At this stage they'll also be harvesting a lot more ERS deployment energy, so this won't be an easy move. I don't think there will be a move. And Casper, he's late on the brakes. Too late on the brakes! He's lost his front wing! On the back of Tony Kirkpatrick, he hit him very hard indeed. And he's had a massive slide as he comes out of the hairpin. Will he be straight into the pit lane? He will, as will Tony. As will all four of them into the pits. And Jake, he did go wide, but didn't hit the wall. Yeah, he did though. Johannes, he's got a warning, which has led for a penalty, so track limits, they very much exist in the pit lane. But Tony, oh, has he got down? Oh, look at that. Casper's got a stack with him too. Oh, and Robin's had he's had a crash as well. With where is he? Apparently he's had a collision with P9, but P9's behind him. Anyway, Casper, he breaks his front wing on the back of Tony, and then they stack in the pits. What a disaster that is! Tony leading the race, but has he got any damage from getting hit by Casper? Fascinating stuff. As they all come out of the pits, this isn't game over for Casper. It just makes life a lot more difficult as he sits in P6, and that was indeed the last time we saw DRS in this race. Unbelievable that from Casper. It was very similar to what I was worried was going to happen when we were on board with Corey earlier, where it was braking late. But that was just braking far too late, and Casper knew it. The second he hit the brake pedal, you could see the counter steer starting and the lockup occur. And yeah, you saw panic in real time there from Casper, and sadly for him, it really just did not work out. But as it turned out, he needed to make that move because of the stacking situation. He wouldn't have known about that, because how do you know who your teammate is in qualifying, unless I suppose you look across your garage, but most people don't even think to do that. Just bad luck, just terrible luck. Robin though, P7, let me see how many points that would win him for his whatchamacallit, thingy-majiggy, his supercharger. That would win him 34 points, which would put him 34 plus... Can't do simple maths. I can't do simple maths. 63 points. I would put him on 63 points, which would put him ahead of Gareth Holden in the top 10 of the Jackocar Thunder standings, but obviously other drivers are scoring points as well. But, yeah. It's looking good for him, let's say that much. He's got a decent gap as well behind to P9. He needs it because he has a penalty, and looks like Ben Harrett's having a wee ding-dong here with Pete anyway, so that might well be losing the pair of them time and letting Robin get down the road as they head down towards turn 1 in the slipstream for Ben Harrett. Well, it's nice to have, but when you've got no ERS, it makes life very difficult for you. And Arnaud down in P11 now, getting himself around the outside by the looks of it. Has he gone off? He has. He's gone wide. I thought he was going to go all the way around the outside and past Chris Waits, and then his car disappeared because he went off. So he didn't get past Chris Waits, so he'll try that one again. Ben Harrett, going to go for it again. Is he on Pete? No, not quite this time. Thought about it, but it's not going to happen. But let's give Tony his airtime then. Where the hell did he start? P8 on the grid. I'd be surprised if he's won from there before. And it's a man at the moment who finds himself currently in P8 in the standings, yet to win a race this season. Of course, when you win a race in the Cup Series, you are automatically placed into the playoffs. It's a win and you're in system, as simple as that. He'll also bank 5 playoff points, and you only get those 5 playoff points for a win once. So essentially, that qualifying win also gives you the 5 bonus points. After that, you don't get the bonus points for winning a race, just so you don't, win every race and have a 50-point advantage going into the playoffs. It's a bit unfair and not very interesting. You win probably more points for winning the duels. Well, actually, no, you win the 5 points for winning your duel standards as well. So there's less playoff points, is my point, during the regular season. I made a real hash of that explanation. But anyway, Tony, he'll get 5 points tonight if he wins the race, and then he'll be through to the playoffs. That's what I was trying to get across. So Arnold's got 1. Can he get the other one? Or will the 1 get back at him? Chris Waits, oh, he's double shifted. That's unfortunate. He looked like he had a good run there on Arnold, but got a bit too eager on the shifter. And will Arnold have a little look here on Michael Akeke? Running strong in P10. He's had again himself a top 6 finish this season in Monza. Here comes Chris Waits. Back at it again. He's got 1. He's got Arnold. Will he be able to get past Michael Akeke as well? Or will Arnold, who's in the best track position here, get through? Bit of contact with Michael. Bit rude. Bit naughty. Bit of the aggressive Arnold coming back out there. He's up into the top 10. Arnold still, though, worrying about Chris Waits, who's had a bit of a slide. He looks pretty competitive, I tell you what. He's really throwing that car around, just the man in the green and purple machine. Not his usual colours, I don't think. He tends to run sort of the Sully colours, doesn't he, of black and purple. I keep thinking I'm looking at Ben Hart, really, when I see him. But, yeah. Certainly driving as aggressively as him. But, yeah. Poor Michael. Just shuffled out of the way. Casper on the back of Ben Shaw. Jake on the back of Corey. Jake doesn't have to do anything, really. He knows Corey's got that penalty, that 3-second time penalty, so he'll be able to just jump him at the finish line as long as he's within 3 seconds. But, yeah, I think he'll be fine. Which sadly means there's no real race to watch here, but, oh well. We can keep an eye on Ben Shaw and Casper. But, yeah, once again with Casper, I really thought he would do the three-peat tonight, because, I mean, that start was incredible. I know I keep going on about it, but that start was incredible. Getting 4 cars in one go. And, well, I'll tell you what, he does still have the pace, clearly, doesn't he? Because he's been able to get alongside Ben, right on the outside. I mean, surely Ben's going to show him the outside of the track here. And he will. So he's clearly still got the pace, but at the minute his gap to leader is 12.7 seconds. That's not going to happen, is it? So yeah, it looks like that fantastic start from Casper might just return him to that P5 that he started in, which some may say is a bit of karma for the luck he got last week, despite how badly his race was going in that first stint in Kota, where again he had a great start, but it just never really worked out for him. He ended up in the wall, broke his front wing, and then won the race. Just, yeah, a weird one. But yeah, this is a good battle between these two. Surely Casper gets through now, right? Indeed he does. He's got more ERS. Yeah, Casper, I think he'll pull away with that. No problem. I say that, I might be completely wrong. Then there's a gap there on the outside if you want to take it. Will it pressure Pete into... not Pete, I was thinking it might have pressured Casper into braking too late. It didn't. We got a virtual safety car. People can pit under this if they want, as Jack Craig is out of the race. But in these conditions, I don't think there's really any reason to pit. So this is just... oh, full safety car. Right, they've pulled the full safety car out. So that'll close everything up nicely. I think that's time to drink some more water from me. It is nice water. I mean, I say it's nice water. Water's water. But, you know, anyway. So, this safety car probably will be out until the end of lap 24, I'd guess. Because the field, again, they're massively spread out. Obviously, by the way, there's nothing stopping you pitting under the safety car. Obviously, Robin is doing it to change his front wing. Chris Waits is doing it to just have some fresh tyres. But I think at this stage, you'd rather just have the trap position. No DRS in play. Rubbered in inters feel good as well. The rubbered in inters feel very good. So if you can rubber them in under the safety car, fair enough. But I think I'd still rather trap position. I'd rather do what, say, Arnold's done and just stay out. What Ben Harrett's done. Just stay out. Even though he's got front wing damage, just stay out. And bank a good trap position. You've also got Corey and Johannes there with penalties. They could lose out. Because, you know, it could be a 4-lap sprint to the end. Tell you what as well, I mean, Casper, I mean, he got past Ben just about in the end. Like I say, I wondered if Ben's positioning there was going to pressure Casper into braking late again to the hairpin, but he got it absolutely under control this time. If he can get his restart under control, he could still fight back and try and win this race. Obviously, Ben Shaw can as well. This puts them both very much back in play because they were 12 seconds off the pace. It wasn't really happening for them after that pit stop phase. But yeah, it's just about waiting for the field to sort of bunch up now. I do wonder if Ben Shaw comes round here and sees Casper continue, will he dart for the pit lane? I think Casper's trying to make sure he can't do that. Johannes has decided to do that, so that'll make Casper do it, and Ben will actually stay out now. I thought Casper was deliberately slowing him down there, just to stop Ben from taking advantage and pitting. But yeah, no, he pitted. Probably in reaction to Johannes. The reason I'm saying that is because I think they've got a gap to Ben Harrett to come right into. So that was potential tactics there from Casper. But Johannes, coming out of the pits, fresh set of boots. He does have that penalty, which makes things a little bit annoying for him. Ben Harrett is now ahead of Casper, but Casper has good tyres now. Like I say, if you can rubber these in under the safety car, fair enough, but he's put himself right in front of Arnold, who'll be licking his lips at this. They just sort of gravitate towards each other, these two, don't they? P7 and P8 in this race. Michael Akeke is back in the top 10 as well. Happy days after getting shoved off by Arnold. Things are working out okay for him, but yeah, this field spread is just enormous. I mean, we've still got Jordan about 3/4 of a lap behind. I say this could come in at the end of lap 24. Yeah, I think he'll be able to catch in that time because neither leader has caught the safety car. So hopefully, any incidents, you know, dependent, we should be able to restart this at the end of the next lap, and then we'll have a very, hopefully, exciting ending. I think this has been a decent race, in fairness, for China. China used to have really good races back on the old gen of cars, but I don't think it really suits these cars as well. But it's been a good race so far, and hopefully we'll have a good ending. This might be a good time to remind you of the rest of the regular season calendar while I've got a minute. Obviously, this week we are here in China. Next week we are in the Netherlands for the Dutch Grand Prix. Obviously, we're going to be using the normal forward layout. Obviously, last season we used the reverse layout, which was a decent race, but I think the normal layout is probably better. I think the reverse tracks are very much a bit of a novelty, which we'll probably just forget exist for a while. It's a bit like short tracks actually got their fair use, didn't they? But I don't think the reverse tracks will get as much use as short tracks. Hungary will be after the Netherlands, and that is going to be the second wildcard race. Anything can happen there. You could have another sprint race for qualifying. You could have qualifying a bit like here, where you're doing inters on a dry track or something like that. Something a bit different. You could be qualifying in F2 cars. You could be racing in F2 cars. Anything could happen. So stay tuned for Hungary. The first event in Monza, that was a fantastic wildcard event. You'll definitely want to see more of those. Brazil and Monaco will complete the regular season. They are going to be box office. You're not going to want to miss those. Brazil's always a great race, and Monaco in regular circumstances isn't always the most interesting race, but Monaco with something on the line, which there definitely will be as the last race of the regular season, will be fascinating. Obviously, Austria used to be the home of round 10, but under this new administration, the Shaw Hall administration, they have decided to rip up that old tradition, and they'll presumably stick Austria somewhere in the playoffs, which will still be exciting. Austria is exciting wherever you put it. So, yeah, Monaco takes that place instead. we don't know the playoff races yet. There'll be 7 playoff races, 6 rounds, and then so 6 rounds, and then the Championship 5 itself. So, yeah, stay tuned for all of that. At this point, I would also like to say thank you to our sponsors for the playoffs and chase, the Dr. Pepper playoffs and the Premier Inn chase. The graphics are shockingly nice for them, and they have no idea we exist. So, oh well. If they actually were on board, I bet they'd love it. But yeah, the Dr. Pepper playoffs and the Premier Inn chase, very nice. Now, safety car lights. You're gonna turn off. It'll be a late call if they do go off. Nope. Gonna go for another one. Oh, it's gonna be a 3-lap shootout in the rain in Shanghai. It's heavy rain now as well, which is probably better for these intermediate tyres. That sort of early stage of rain, where it's relatively light, is more just annoying. But when it's raining about as much as this, I think this is where the intermediates come into their own. So this should be actually relatively good conditions for all the drivers. But yeah, that's how long it's taking for Baza and for Jordan to catch up. There's Baza coming through turn 1 now, but Jordan's only just crossed the start-finish line. The leader's at the end of the sector now, so yeah, at least we'll have the full complement of 17 cars ready to take the restart. I mean, 17 cars, so that's about as many as we've had at some races in the early part of the season, so losing a few drivers is not too bad. We can live with it. But yeah, for the drivers left, this is going to be hopefully a good restart. We had a good few restarts in Vegas, where we had all sorts of interesting action towards the finish line, including Sullivan Lewis running outside of Logan Aron for second place in the final corner. Absolutely ballsy move. Should have been a plane crash, but he made it stick. Will we see that sort of racing here tonight? It's a shame that Corey has that penalty, isn't it? Because it sort of kills this a little bit, because he sort of has to either cause a bit of chaos or move out of the way and let Jake and Ben Shaw and Ben Harra and Casper and Arnold try and have a go. Because at the minute, I think if I'm Tony, I'm feeling pretty comfortable about this. But if I see Corey up my inside, I mean, I'd be letting him go personally. But what will Tony do as he comes around the back straight? Obviously, at this stage, some people might be saying, well, why is nobody on the full wets? This is pretty heavy rain. As it is in real life, or at least as it was in real life, maybe the new Pirellis will do better than the full wets, but the full wets at the moment on this game and in real life, useless. Even if it is an absolute typhoon, you still want to have intermediates on. So even though it looks particularly heavy, intermediates are more than good enough to get you to the end of this race at a good pace and with good grip. But here we go then, round to the final corner. We'll be taking these laps at about 2 minutes and, well, under safety car about 2 minutes 40, but in full conditions, full racing conditions, closer to maybe 150. They'll be pretty slow these last 3 laps. But down towards turn 1 we go, and Jake O'Sullivan is already being attacked and passed around the outside by Ben Shaw. What a move that is, very tidy. Into turn 1. Is there going to be contact? They're nearly touching the front wing to rear tyre there with Jake and with Ben, but Ben up into a net second place. Very nice. Is Corey close enough to try and launch an attack here on Tony? I'm sure he wants to. I'm sure he's thinking about it. As down in towards turn 6, Ben Harrett almost into the back there of Johannes, and wide and all over the show goes Casper. And that free piece looking very unlikely, isn't it? As through he goes on Ben Harrett. He's just got too much work to do. That's the problem he has. And look at the lack of pace here, really, from Johannes. And this is again, from Jake, I should say, because this is the fresh tyres of Johannes and of Casper coming into play a little bit. I mean, they can see the leaders. Obviously, Johannes has the penalty, but they should still have, I guess, a little bit more grip at this stage. China does rip up the tyres, doesn't it, this track layout? But here comes Corey, all over the curb there, on the exit of turn 13. He was very close to Tony when he did that, and that might have just cost him the chance to go for the move. Down into the hairpin, late on the brakes, thinks about it, but just doesn't have the... he just doesn't have the room to go for it, does he? Johannes looks like he's going to get through on Jake. Jake, who, well, he can afford to lose this place, but if Casper gets in, that's a bad place to lose. As very wide goes Corey. You can tell he's pushing, can't you? But Tony does look to have this under control. As side by side for the final corner go Leroy and Gareth, and another car going wide there as they all muddle through. And that wasn't a front wing coming off, that was just something on the ground that they've probably hit with their floor. Nothing too much to worry about as Jake and Johannes continue to go side by side, and there goes Casper absolutely sideways as he pulls alongside, and that'll be straight through. It is straight through up into 5th place and late on the brakes into the hairpin. He still could be on the podium today, good Casper. He looks very good for it at the moment. The win is too far away, but well, you know what? Never say never. Let's never say never on new tyres. If Tony picks up a penalty now, get excited. But we're watching Gareth Hall. He's got a sort of second train behind him, which includes Robin, who still has that penalty. He looks like he's, sadly for him, going to get a pretty poor result with this supercharged result, and that is going to be another supercharger wasted this season. We'll see what happens, but he looks like he's struggling with a car as well. These conditions aren't easy. I know I've been trying to say that they're on the best tyre for the condition, but it doesn't mean it's easy. This is difficult stuff. What are we saying, Tony? He's got enough ERS, and Corey's got less on him. I mean, what can you do? He's full throttle down the back straight, full ERS usage, and he gets no closer. Ben Shaw very late on the brakes. They're all actually very late on the brakes. As Arnold goes round the outside. I don't think he meant to be on the outside. I think he's probably broke deep to try and get past Jake, and it hasn't worked. But here we go then, out of the final corner. 1 lap to go here in Shanghai, and it's Tony Kirkpatrick who leads down towards turn 1 ahead of Corey Dalton, who's got a penalty. Ben Shaw, who's looking good for 2nd place. Johannes again with a penalty, and then Casper set to be the final driver on the podium. But surely some moves will start coming out here now. You got, this is almost nothing to lose territory if you're Corey, or if you're Johannes. Try and force your rivals wide into mistakes. Try and sort of bait them into getting a penalty. Oh, down the inside goes Johannes, and that was absolutely just moving on to braking there from Ben Shaw. If that costs him 2nd place, he's only going to have himself to blame, as around the outside goes Casper. I think he's going to run out of grip there, is he? He will indeed. But yeah, that looked like Ben was just surprised to see Johannes there, reacted to him, and moved under braking. And Johannes, he's got a damaged front wing. That's going to give Tony basically only Corey to worry about here, as they come through into the final sector for the final time. What's Tony's exit going to be like as he comes through turn 13? Bit slippy, bit slidey, but he's going to have 3/4 of a second almost. That looks good enough to me, as Casper on the inside of Ben Shaw, and they're going to go side by side. Corey picks up a 2nd penalty. That's going to really ruin his result. He could end up in 7th place by the end of this, as down the back straight we go. Ben is just ahead of Casper. He's going to hold the inside line. Arnold, oh, he's going to be a contact there. Damages his front wing against Jake O'Sullivan. They're going to be fighting all the way to the line as he gets a penalty from Jake O'Sullivan, pushing him wide. But here comes Tony across the line. It's his first win as a Jackocar champion, as Ben comes through for 2nd and Casper is 3rd. You can see what's happened. Arnold has lost his front wing in a collision with, who's that? Must have been Jake, wasn't it? With the final corner, that'll protect P6 for Corey. But Johannes in 4th, Jake 5th, Corey 6th, Ben 7th, and then Arnold in 8th without a front wing. But it's Tony who's won for the first time as Jackocar Cup Series champion. Of course, his first win in Thursday Night Thunder as well. Corey's had enough. He's left the session as soon as humanly possible. But here is your reigning Jackocar Cup Series champion. It's been an overdue win. 6 races into the season. He's been on the front of the grid before, but yeah, it never seems to work out in the races, but it has today. And Tony, he's on the board in season 13. He's on the board in Thursday Night Thunder. Here's your order then. Tony from Ben Shaw. I mean, 8th and 7th from the grid. That tells you how mixed up qualifying was. Casper 3rd. Johannes in 4th. Jake 5th. Corey 6th. Ben Harriet in 7th. Arnold 8th. Pete 9th. Gareth 10th. Leroy 11th. Chris Waits in 12th. Mike 13th. Robin 14th. Michael Akeke in 15th. Jordan 16th. And Bazza 17th. Your retirements: Jack Craig, Jimmy, and Sully. And for people who care about the points for Superchargers, 14th place on a Supercharger result only earns 14 points for Robin, which I suppose is like a decent P9 or P8 finish, but he'd have been hoping for more in this race, that's for certain, when he was running 7th before. But that is our lot. Hope you've all enjoyed another edition of the Jackocar Cup Series here in Thursday Night Thunder. That was a fun race. I enjoyed that one. Looks like Casper enjoyed his battle with Ben Shaw as well. Casper and Ben Shaw. I mean, they're fighting a lot, weren't they? So yeah, nice to see they have had a good time. Jake is a bit confused by Arnold's move, and even Tony's delighted that he had a good battle with Jake O'Sullivan. So it looks like most of the drivers are leaving that race pretty happy. So I'm leaving the race pretty happy. Jacko should be back next week for the Dutch Grand Prix. I should also be here as well. So join us both here next Thursday, 7:30-ish, for round 7 of Thursday Night Thunder. Thank you all for watching. Safe travels. Enjoy the rest of your week.